Welcome to the video, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today in this edition where we will be looking at Black Friday and Cyber Monday. What are they? What's their relevance? And how can you maximize your sales and profits on these 2 days? Well, this video is going to tell you everything that you need to know. So, guys, my name is Dylan Reed. I'm the founder of the FBA Elite Academy, where we teach people how to sell on Amazon, which is what I'm doing now. So, just a quick overview then. Now, you're probably familiar with these 2 days, Black Friday and Cyber Monday. They're thrown around everywhere. Amazon promote these days and invest a lot of money into their advertising and marketing campaigns on television, in magazines, in newspapers. So you will be familiar with the terms. Now, very similar to Prime Day, they are days where people go and they boot their laptops up and they go online in search of deals and offers. Now, Amazon is the number one place that people go to find bargains and sales. Now, on these 2 days, you can expect to see an influx of traffic to your listings, and as a result of that, your sales will dramatically increase in the weeks preceding and following these days, if you are on top of your game. So that's my objective. This video is to give you my top 5 tips of what I do and what my students do to maximize sales on these 2 days. Tip number 1, staying in stock, having healthy inventory levels. Now, this is something that I fell victim to back in 2017 when I ran out of stock for about 4 of my main SKUs just before Black Friday hit on the 29th of November. Now, you can imagine this is a very frustrating time for me, but it's something that I've learned from and something that, I now pass down and pass on to other people who are, maybe coming up to their first Black Friday or Cyber Monday. So having healthy inventory levels is very important, right? We need stock to make sales. In the week that leads up to Black Friday and, following Cyber Monday, you will want to make sure that you have ample stock for the increase in sales that you are receiving from Amazon. So just make sure, guys, you've got a month to plan ahead. Now, I'm not saying to place, a whole order for another 500 units. It's not going to be that crazy, but make sure that you have enough stock to get you through the period. But as well as that, you need to have stock to be able to maintain any, improved ranking that you've gained in those 2 days following, moving into the next month or two. Tip number 2, understand your pricing and make sure you have a clear pricing strategy. Now, I want you to sort of understand that when people come to Amazon, they are already expecting to find deals. So typically, prices on Amazon are going to be lower than elsewhere, whether these customers are browsing on private websites or, just the internet in general. Just the fact that they're coming to Amazon and that there are products in front of them, they're going to think that these are offers. Now, there are ways to sort of emphasize that and exacerbate that, but just, on very simple terms, people already feel like they're going to find deals, even if it isn't really a deal. Now, what I mean by that is if you're selling a product for $14.99, and that product is, fairly cheap in terms of if you were comparing it to other products on private websites, then customers who come to Amazon who may not visit the rest of the year on Black Friday or Cyber Monday, they will see that £14.99 as a deal. Now, the point I'm getting at here is I don't believe that you should dramatically lower your pricing on either of these 2 days. You don't want to shift heaps of stock and have a very small margin on those sales just for the sake of maybe getting some extra keyword ranking for your search terms, because ultimately you're going to lose stock and you're going to waste an opportunity, in my opinion. So I also would avoid stampede pricing. Now, that's everyone priced very, very similar for your niche on these particular days, because it doesn't provide any sort of clear, definitive route for the customer to go down with regard to choosing their item based on price. Now, I would actually price my items more. So I would increase the price by 10%. This is a figure that you're going to have to, or a percentage that you're going to need to determine yourself what you feel is reasonable. But ultimately, you want to increase your margins on these days. And remember that the people who are visiting the platform on these days, they are ready to purchase, right? They are impulse buyers at their best. Meaning if your product was usually $14.99 and today it's $16.99 with maybe a £1 voucher, they're still going to make that purchase. You're going to get a bundle of sales in and your margin is going to be increased. The sort of vibe and the feel that you will get on Prime Days, people are just crazy, right? They will come to the platform and they will be buying like mad. And you don't want to be there shifting stock with no margin. You want to increase your margin and make the most of this atmosphere that Amazon have created, this sort of madness, this the term Black Friday madness was created for a reason. So my advice would be increase your price very slightly, possibly by £1 or £2, and if you'd like to add a voucher to that as well. Point number 3. Now this one goes without saying, and this is something that you've probably done already if you've had any sort of training or you've worked super hard on your listings. But we want to make sure that just generally, in very simple terms, that we are optimized, right? So that we can increase our conversions. And that's basically it. We have bundles of traffic on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and we want to convert very well. Now, to convert on a listing, it needs to be optimized. Now, some ways that you optimize a listing, making sure your images are high resolution, very detailed, showing the benefits of the customer, as well as the features of the product itself, making sure you've got infographics on your images, and making sure you're utilizing all of the spaces for images. Make sure it's filled up, guys. Make sure that you've got as much information in those images and they are as clear as day, because it will help convert. Now, pricing we've talked about, that is part of a listing optimization if you've overpriced yourself or underpriced yourself. So revert back to that pricing strategy that we looked at in the previous point. Make sure that you've got reviews. Again, if you can get 3 or 4 reviews before we move into this sort of week period, just get them, right? It will help with with your organic ranking and will jumpstart the algorithm and will give you some more exposure. They do base it on feedback from customers. It's one of the components of how they rank. So if you do have some 5-star reviews with some images, it will help that just leading up to these 2 days. As well as this, your keywords, guys. If you've had a couple of weeks or a few months off from optimizing, go back into your PPC reports and have a look at the high search volume, longer tail keywords, or broader terms that are getting you lots of clicks and potentially sales, and make sure that you are utilizing these keywords. They're embedded throughout your listing, your title is optimized, and your PPC campaign also reflects this. So make sure, just if you have had a little bit of time off from optimizing a listing, jump back in preparation. You've got over a month now to do this and try and improve your listing so it's in the best possible condition, ready for buyers to be viewing it on these 2 days. Moving on to point number 4, and that would be, this is going to be a big one. This is one of the most significant points, and we'll combine with what I said for point number 2, and that is making sure that you are advertising heavily on these 2 days and for the week period. Now, the reason for this, guys, is if your pricing is right and your listing is optimized, you want to make sure that this, massive stampede of people, all this traffic that's coming to the platform, they see your listings, right? We want them to see them, we want them to click on them, and we want them to convert, which is why all of these 5 tips will sort of piece together to form this picture. So make sure, and I would advise using, firstly, vouchers, guys. So vouchers are little orange sort of tabs that sit on your thumbnail or your impression on Amazon, and you can offer a percentage discount, or you can offer a monetary figure, sort of £2 off or £4 off. So if you were selling for £14.99 typically, and that was your price, you could even think about increasing your price to £20 and having a £3 voucher that it will seem to the customer who arrives on your listing on that day that they have stumbled across a bargain, right? There's a voucher, they save £3, they will immediately make the association with Black Friday or Cyber Monday. They will have more incentive to click on your listing, and it will increase the click-through rate and traffic will be driven to your listing. So vouchers are key. Promotions are another option, which again adds a little attractive sort of banner to the underneath of your thumbnail for your impression. And you can offer, buy 3, get the 4th for free, or buy 2 and get your 3rd one at 10% discount. You can set up promotions within your Amazon Seller Central account. and make sure that you've got it down, you've prepared for it, you've worked out your margins and what works for you in terms of costing and pricing, and you've got all this ready to basically just click the button the week before Black Friday and Cyber Monday, so you're ready to go. Now, these two things, again, we understand that people who shop on Amazon on these 2 days are looking for deals, like I mentioned to you at the beginning. And by having these two extra elements on your listing or added to the listing, it's going to help emphasize that, like I said to you, that vibe and that atmosphere on the platform, that everything is on offer. You want to seem like you have got these offers on to increase your sales. So make sure you do that. Whilst we're on this point, PPC is something that you need to understand before even, venturing into how to optimize it for these 2 days. But PPC needs to be utilized on these 2 days. If you are struggling with your budget, put some money aside for this week, because ultimately you want to have increased exposure for all this traffic. And I would highly recommend increasing your overall budget during this period. So that might mean if some of you need to put a little bit aside for that, then do it. But most certainly do it. Now, PPC, I've noticed from the past, from these 2 days, that there are a lot of errors that are made when setting up PPC campaigns. And typically, and it's something that Salix touched upon, they're a software company, they mentioned that people make the mistake of increasing their bids dramatically. So by up to sort of 200-300%. And what this means is they will run out of budget quite early on in the day, because there's so many people visiting the platform and so many people clicking on the listings that their campaign budget over that 24-hour period will run out. So what I found from my own experience and from students who went through it last year is leave your bid the same. It's hard enough to keep your ACOS down and get your bid and nail your bid just normally, let alone when you've got loads of traffic flying to all of your listings. So I would keep the bid exactly as it is. The main thing you need to do is increase your budget over the day. I would, advise tripling your budget over that period, because not only will it help with increasing your sales and converting, but also you will have a spike in your ranking. So for the keywords that you are converting on for PPC, with all this, increased traffic, which isn't normal for your listing to have, Amazon will bump you up in the search term results, and you will, benefit from this, and you will reel off this after this week has passed, because you will have increased exposure. So make sure you utilize this. Now, advertising doesn't have to stay on Amazon. You can externally drive traffic through Facebook campaigns, and I would advise doing that. If you've got an email list, use it. Send out all of the offers that you're going to be running on these days, and make sure that you have got as many people aware of your deals on Amazon as possible. Now, one topic and one point that a lot of people ask me about is lightning deals. Now, lightning deals, you need to be eligible for them, and it might be too late to get them at this point. But a lightning deal is essentially a limited time deal, but you are very restricted in terms of what your pricing is. Amazon basically tell you, this is the deal that we're going to give you. It's going to cost you this much, and you're going to have to sell it for this price. And often, guys, they really do take the out of Amazon sellers, and they for my products in particular, I've got offers for my lightning deals from Amazon, and literally they're like half price. They want me to price my items at half of what they usually are, and yes, you'll get loads of sales, but why would we want to make that many sales and lose all that inventory if our margin isn't there? So I personally stay away from lightning deals unless you think the price fits. So occasionally Amazon will they will propose a reasonable deal, and then it's something that you can consider. But I wouldn't jump in and just think, wow, I've got 4 items eligible for lightning deals, let's just smash a load of cash on this and try and get loads of sales. So avoid those, in my opinion. Now, point number 5, you want to make sure that you look at this holistically, right? Making sure that you encompass all of these points that I've mentioned, but also understand that rather than just focus on these 2 days in particular, look at it as a week period. So everything that I've just mentioned, make sure that you, rather than just putting all your attention solely on these 2 days, you'll find that it sort of spills over into the sort of 3 or 4 days before and 3 or 4 days after. So make sure that you've got PPC budget allocated, make sure the listing's optimized, make sure you've got everything that we've spoken about set up well before Black Friday, which is November 29th this year. And you will find that it has a significant impact, and you will probably have the best week that you've had to date this year, and unless obviously you had a fantastic day on Prime Day. Now, what do you think people will be searching for on Black Friday and Cyber Monday? They'll be looking for, and they will be typing in Black Friday deals for whatever they're searching for. So, Black Friday and Cyber Monday are search terms that you might not have embedded in the back end of your listing. You might not have this in the search term section. So I would advise for this week period to input these search terms in your back end, because they are relevant, and you're going to want to be visible for people who are searching these terms, followed by the product that you're selling, which you wouldn't typically otherwise have in your listing. So make sure that you put these in the back end of your listing in preparation for these 2 days. And finally, to sort of summarize, enjoy these days, everyone. They are exciting days to be selling on Amazon. Your sales will be considerably more than they would be on typical days, and enjoy it, right? Don't stress about it. Make sure that you've got lots of time to prepare, and make sure that you enjoy it. I believe last year, I think I almost hit £2,000 in sales on Black Friday, which, was at the time over double what I did on a normal day. So, it's pretty significant stuff. And make sure that, you enjoy it. Now, that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, hit that like button, thumbs up, and drop a comment below. Make sure that you are subscribed if you are not already. And, good luck with it. I know it's going to go fantastically well for you. Make sure you prepare in depth for these 2 days and enjoy them. And I'll see you guys in the next one.